Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Now, earlier today on the Alex Jones Show, Dan Dix gave us an update on the shooting at Parliament in Ottawa. And he joins us again live on the scene. Dan, thanks for joining us.
No problem. My pleasure to be here.
Hey, what's this I hear about that they're not releasing any security footage of the gunman from Parliament? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that on the way to cover this, that conveniently none of the footage from inside Parliament actually shows any clips from this individual who apparently walked in there past security, past metal detectors with a long gun in hand. And some speculate that he knew where the camera was and knew where to dodge things, but it is very, very fishy. It's interesting, to say the least. So we're going to try to keep a very close eye on that one, that's for sure, too.
Now, what about Canadian officials telling the public not to post any pictures or any videos that they may have captured on the internet or on social media? Because naturally there would be people that just happen to be caught up at the scene that maybe have witnessed something. Why would they tell people not to share any of their experiences on the internet?
Well, they're the propaganda spin masters. They need to control the official narrative that is going to come of this. And so far, they've already shaped and molded the official narrative, which is this guy is a terrorist and he's a radical extremist who is doing things in retaliation for ISIS. Now, they have already came out and said this flat out, even though the fact that this just happened yesterday. We really don't know all the facts, but the Canadian media has already labeled this as a terrorist incident. As I said earlier, there's newspapers all over the world now saying terrorism has arrived in Canada, and they've already done the damage by conditioning Canadians to think that this indeed was a terrorist attack. Meanwhile, we don't even know. This guy could be set up, could be an informant, could have been incubated and coerced and co-opted into pulling off something like this, or allowed to let this happen. It's still too early to say, but there's a lot of still very, very fishy things and a lot of questions that we have here, and that's why we wanted to come down to counter a little bit of this MSM spin machine that's going on here.
Well, I also heard that not only did they tell the public, but the Canadian officials also told the Canadian press not to share pictures as well. I mean, since when did they tell the press not to share what they may have uncovered on video? I mean, I think that's pretty strange.
Yeah, they in fact have already made it rather difficult for myself to even acquire media accreditation to get into Ottawa's press gallery. They're making us run through loops, but of course, if you're part of the approved mainstream media who's going to tout the party line, then you're allowed in. But you know, we are here on the ground still, so yeah, you know, it's we're here just doing everything we can do to uncover everything. There's a lot going on right now. There's I'll show you. There's some huge media presence across the street. There's a lot of police officers here. This is actually the memorial itself right here where the individual was shot yesterday. And they have set up a little memorial here. As you can see, people have been visiting it all day long. That is the tomb of the unknown soldier that you can see back there. This is where the Canadian soldier was standing there on guard when the gunman walked up and shot him. And this soldier was armed with a weapon. However, they're not loaded. They don't let the Canadian soldiers here load their weapons when they're standing on guard. So unfortunately, he was fatally shot, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the family members. But had he been armed, perhaps this could have been avoided.
Yeah, that's a shame, and hopefully that'll change in the future. Now, we've also heard reports, and I wanted to ask you about this, that the Canadian police were actually pointing their weapons at journalists in order to intimidate them. I mean, have you heard anything about that?
I've seen some of that online. I just got in late last night and have just been filming out on the grounds, filming the whole time. So I haven't seen a whole lot of what's been coming in just yet from the mainstream media, other than what I'm hearing, you know, around me here on the grounds here. But that is certainly no surprise. As I said, they need to be the this propaganda spin masters. So if that means controlling Canadian journalists to the point of sticking guns in their faces, it looks like they're going to go to those extremes here to make sure that either the truth doesn't get out or that they make sure that they have all angles covered when it comes to telling the people what happened here.
All right, well, great report, Dan. We really appreciate it. Before we go, have you learned anything else that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I think the bottom line and the most important thing here is that we need to be very careful of the response to things like this. The Canadian government, we simply can't go on to bomb other countries in the Middle East because of this. We simply can't restrict Canadians' freedoms because of this. And so I would just encourage people to not live in fear of the terrorists. They've conditioned you to be this way. And let's just ensure that, we don't call for stricter gun control, more powers for the state, because they're the ones who always benefit from these types of events.
Fantastic. All right, thanks, Dan. From Ottawa, Canada, we look forward to more reports to come.
Thanks.
For more coverage from Dan Dix and the shooting at Parliament and the lockdown at Parliament, be sure to check out pressfortruth.ca.
I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen.
For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox Special at InfoWarsLife.com.